Guys, today let's talk about energy optimization, everything that you guys can do to create and have more energy to chase all of your passions. Now, let me start off with a disclaimer, is that you need to actually have the mindset that you want to have more energy to be able to have more energy. You need to be excited about having energy, okay? So, step one, get excited about it. But now, disclaimer aside, to achieve your goals, it requires energy. Taking action will become much more easy when you have ample amounts of energy. Focus will just come naturally. When you have an abundance of energy, your focus, your ability to maintain that vision that you want, all of a sudden everything gets easier when you have enough energy to jump over every one of life's hurdles. Now, when you have low energy, every hurdle becomes bigger. So that's why it's important. Love your life, create your change. Let's talk about the 5 fundamental energy givers in your life that I want you guys to utilize. So, light, air, water, food, and relationships. Light, air, water, food, and relationships. All 5 of these are going to be critical. All 5 of these are going to be important. Since this is an intro video, I'm just going to hop right in. I want to expose you guys to the information. I will probably do a deep dive on every single one of these topics. But for now, let's start with air. Or let's start with light. Sorry. So, something that I want you guys to realize is that 7-dehydrocholesterol and vitamin D are the same molecular structure. Now, many of you guys have a preconceived notion that vitamin D is very good for the body and that cholesterol can clog arteries. Guys, they're basically the same thing. Sunlight is what is going to change one into the other. UV light specifically on your skin. So we don't need to be super afraid of the sun. Guys, be smart. Get the sun in amounts that is adequate for you, but there isn't a need to be afraid of it necessarily. Now, realize that it affects everything in the body, from our circadian rhythms to our hormones. Light is energy, and we have energy in all of our bodies. We have these benzene rings in our cells that are literally designed to catch photons from the sunlight. Cytochrome C oxidase in our mitochondria. Many parts of our body are very, very optimized for sunlight. So, let's get into another topic, which is that the sun's light is made from all the way from near infrared, which is going to be your slowest and longest waves, and then you have your ultraviolet light, your UV light, which is your highest frequency waves, the waves that contain the most energy, okay? Just to have a basic understanding of the sun's rays. So, you can start to realize and think about it. We have ultraviolet, the highest frequency, highest amount of energy, over here on the right, and over here on the left, we have the slowest waves. So we can start to think about, okay, which waves would be best to get during which times of the day? Well, these slower waves are going to be great in the morning and at night. These slow waves, they're a little bit more gentle on the body. They help with recovery. They kind of help prep you for the day or prep you for the sleep, okay? And then the ultraviolet light is going to be great during the middle of the day. And lucky for us, the sun is just naturally attuned already in that regard. We're going to have our ultraviolet light when the sun is highest in the sky. Realize this is the same light that is going to give you the tan. So if you're worried about sun damage, you can always get light at during the sunrise or the sunset. But I'll do another video why I think we don't even have to worry about sun damage as much as we've been led to believe. But for now, adjust your sun levels to what you can get, adjust it to what you feel comfortable with, and realize that different wavelengths have different effects on the body. So for something like sleep, we can start to think about that we want some more of those red light. We're also going to find that in fire, candles, and we can wear things like blue light blockers to prevent the higher frequency blue lights from affecting our sleep as much, and realize that these higher frequency waves do different things to our cells. Just like a UV ray will do something to our cell, a blue light ray will do something, and red light. And not saying that any of them are bad, but they have different effects, and at night we don't want the blue light. So viruses and bacteria, this is very, very interesting. One of the best ways to get rid of viruses and bacteria is through ultraviolet sunlight. Ultraviolet sunlight. Get a little bit of it. You have a virus, you have a bacteria, get out of the sun a little bit. Lastly, last point on light that I'm going to make is moonlight and water. So guys, many of you guys are not, especially if you're a male, you're not as in tune with the moon and how it affects your body, but realize that we have different fluids in our body. The moon is going to be very attuned to these fluids, and especially if you expose yourself to moonlight, realize that there are going to be some effects on the fluids. Okay? So, water. That leads me in my next point, which is water. And since we're talking about the moon, let's talk about water. So, moonlight is going to pull water, and a full moon is going to have the strongest pull, right? So, oftentimes this can make you more emotional. As water carries energy, water carries charge. Dr. Emoto already did many studies on this, where he told water basically, I love you. He told it negative things. It affects the water in different ways. Water carries charge. So our cells are made mainly of water and cellular salts, right? So if you think of your body, water becomes really important. Our body, in every one of our cells, is mainly water. It becomes a very, very good way to treat your body, to gain more energy, to be able to go after your goals. So the water sources that I would recommend, so keep in mind that we're being exposed to water every single day. The water that you want to be getting more of is water that is going to be charged and help your cells, right? Things like mineral water, things like spring water. Ideally, get them in glass containers if you can. And so since water is able to carry charge, it makes transferring energy in our body that much easier. So if we have the proper water ratios in our body, if we have the proper balance in our cells are going to be able to communicate with each other. They're going to be able to communicate within their own cell. They're going to be able to communicate and exchange energy, which is what we are looking for, much easier. So grab quality water, cut out the tap water, and realize that water balances the elements in the body as well. So all of the organelles, which are simply the organs inside of your cells, things like the mitochondria, right? Things like the endoplasmic reticulum. But the point that you guys need is that you have a lot of different elements in your body, and water is typically what is going to act as the go-between that helps balance them out. Now this can be great for flushing out toxins, right? Let's say you have too much of a heavy metal. Well, water can be a great way to help flush that out, right? Your body has different natural pathways to flush out some of these heavy metals. For example, you might need to sweat a lot if you have a lot of heavy metals inside of you. And that sweat is going to come out in the water, and a lot of those heavy metals are going to be able to be whisked away. Things like the sauna or intense workouts. That's part of the reason why they're going to be so detoxifying for the body. Second is it's going to supply minerals to the body. And when you can supply minerals in a great fashion, you need a proper water balance. If you don't have enough water, and many of you guys listening to this video are likely going to be dehydrated, but understand that for a lot of people it's because they don't have the right mineral balance. This is why adding things like a little bit of sea salt to your water can help maintain a better balance. So water can be great at supplying minerals to the body. So as far as those flushing mechanisms, we talked about sweat for heavy metals, right? Obviously you are going to urinate when your kidneys are going to go through a flush, right? And your blood carries water. Something that many people don't think about is that our tears are actually going to help flush away emotions. That's for another video. We can talk about that later, but tears can be very helpful for resetting some of these negative emotions that we have in our lives. So guys, because water has memory, water carries charge, all of it's part of the same thing. Guys, it helps to be grateful to your water. If you tell your water positive things, be grateful when you drink your water, it's going to help your water become even better. Lastly, your lymphatic system. This is going to control the fluids in your body. Water is going to be the central pathway of your lymphatic system. So the main thing here to realize is that movement is going to help stimulate the lymphatic system, but again, it's based on the fluids in your body. So let's go to point number 3, air. So air is very, very important for a lot of reasons. It supplies a lot of raw elements into your body. The main one we know about and talk about is oxygen. And with oxygen, realize that oxygen is going to be your primary electron source. And oxygen is very reactive. Oxygen has a lot of electrons to give to the body. That's very, very beneficial. We can hardly go a few minutes without breathing before we will die. Electrons being energy. So guys, some of the main tips I have written down here for you are, when you breathe, make sure you are always breathing through your nose. If you are not in a fight or flight situation, you want to be breathing through your nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. There are different use cases where you can breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth, breathe in through the mouth, breathe out through the nose. But in general, breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the nose. So another tip for you guys is utilize your full lung. Now many of us, we're going to be on our phones, we're going to be on our computers, we're going to be hunched up, we're going to have poor posture. Guys, have good posture, expand your shoulders as far as you can expand them, set the rib cage, breathe from the diaphragm. This is going to use the bottom of your lung. Breathe all the way through your collarbone. And now you can use your full lung. Get a nice deep breath all the way through. Use your entire lung. Now, we also have what I term as rhythmic breathing. This means that as we breathe in, we should have a certain count. The air should be moving at a certain rate. We're going to want to hold it at the top, and then we want to breathe out at a certain rate. And if you're really advanced, you can time it up with your heart rate, with your heartbeat, And what this rhythmic breathing is going to do, it's going to control the amount of energy that is coming in and exiting our system. It's going to create a harmony within our body where when everything is in rhythm, there is no shortage of energy, there is no excess. Your body knows how much is coming in, it knows how much is coming out. Guys, it's very important. Too often we have shallow breathing, and too often either our inhale is really fast or our exhale is really fast and shallow. Guys, take deep breaths, take them in slowly, breathe out slowly, breathe it in rhythmically, okay? They should both be the same speed on the inhale and the exhale. So, another point that I have written here is indoor air versus outdoor air. Let it be known that outdoor air is much, much more beneficial. Outdoor air is just going to have much more energy naturally in it. Indoor air is very stale. You have to worry about things like molds. In general, it's good to spend a lot more time than we do in our society outside. I like to go to the beach, smell the beach air every single night, and I'm trying to get outside for multiple hours every single day. I sleep with a window open. There are ways that I am adding outdoor air into my life very, very intentionally. Air and digestion. So guys, when you breathe with the diaphragm, an added bonus that you guys are going to have is that it is going to stimulate your internal organs just a little bit. This extra pressure that your diaphragm has when it's both contracting upwards or expanding is going to help with symptoms like IBS and bloating. And especially if you combine it with a walk after a meal. And now you're just rhythmically breathing, you're kind of moving everything around. Guys, a lot of you with IBS and bloating, you'll realize that that's simply all you guys need to make it go away, is a nice 10, 15, 20-minute walk after you eat your heaviest meal and go outside and breathe in some good air and breathe deeply through the diaphragm. Guys, a lot of you guys will have that fixed. Which brings me to my fourth point, which is food. So guys, if I have helped you in any way so far, please do me a favor and like, subscribe, and share this video to someone that you think would benefit as well. So, food. Timing of food is so important. You guys have heard all about carnivore, vegan, vegetarian, all these different types of diet, high protein, high fat. I'll get into that, but what I want to talk about in today's video are maybe some of the things that you guys haven't heard of as much. So, timing. Food becomes the body when it enters the body. You eat an apple, and the apple then becomes you. Guys, take a second to appreciate that. Realize that that doesn't happen instantly, and that doesn't happen without a lot of internal energy going on in the body. So realize that when you eat, it's very energy intensive. It requires a lot of energy to turn that apple into your body. And an apple is going to be one of the easiest ones. If you're eating all sorts of garbage, it's going to be even more energy intensive. So, here's some tips for you guys. Don't schedule focused work after meals. Guys, we've all been there. We've all felt a little tired after a lunch that was too big or full of carbs or whatever it is. Get a little afternoon drowsiness. Guys, this goes with any meal. Anytime you eat a big meal, anytime you eat a small meal, it's going to take just a little bit of your focus away, and it can be a little, it can be a lot, but your best work is going to be in a fasted state. Your most focused work is going to be in a fasted state. So let's talk about fasting windows. Your fasting window, fasting is going to be very beneficial for the body. Again, digestion, very intensive process. So if you can give your body more rest from that process, it can be very beneficial. Now, fasting can be beneficial for a lot of different ways. It's going to help keep you at a pretty solid body weight. You won't get too fat, and you won't even get too skinny when you're fasting. Kind of counterintuitively, but guys, do fasting to what fits you currently. the longer you fast, if you do a really long fast, it's going to affect your body in certain ways. Or you can do shorter fasts like intermittent fasting, right? 12 to 18 hour fasts every day. We're eating for a 6 to 12 hour window, right? Each has their own benefits, and you guys can look them up online. But fasting is going to be one of your best ways to detox your body. Keep in mind that when your body is doing this energy intensive digestive process, that it has less time to focus on repairing some of your damaged cells. So guys, if you realize that you have joint pain or brain fog or something just doesn't feel right, you have chronic disease, fasting is often one of these things that can be incredibly beneficial for you guys. So if you're listening to this video and you have joint pain or anything like that, and again, don't take my word for it, go test it out yourself, go see what a fast does for your pain. Lastly, let's talk about, and again, for those with IBS or bloating, this is another tip for you guys. Let's talk about warming up the system. And oftentimes, so when you have an empty stomach, it can be very beneficial to start it off with something light, right? You can start off with a glass of lemon water, maybe you add a little bit of honey to it. You can start with a piece of fruit. Then you can work into something that's maybe slightly heavier, maybe a small bowl of soup, maybe a piece of bread, and then you can get into your main meal. And now you have all of those digestive enzymes already working. And oftentimes you'll find this is how it goes in a lot of restaurants, is that they'll give you your drink first, then they'll give you your bread or your soup, and then you'll get into your meal. So we naturally have it structured, but I think oftentimes for the home cooks out there, or when we go grab a takeout meal, however you guys eat, we often don't think about just adding in some of these small steps that are really going to help our digestion. And at the end of the day, we're not left with as much bloating or IBS. So some more tips for you guys. Dairy, I would recommend that you don't have dairy during the middle of the day. You don't want to mix dairy with things like meat. You don't want to mix dairy with things like citrus fruits. Dairy is intensive and it takes certain enzymes to process in the body. So when those enzymes are active, you're not necessarily processing other foods such as meat as well. It's going to sit there in your body for a very long time. Again, this is energy intensive. We don't need things sitting there in our stomach for a very long time and having it process and have it work overtime if we don't need to. Your body is only going to repair when it has that empty stomach, and the resources and energy, instead of being pulled in the stomach, those energy and resources, they can go elsewhere to helping the body. So eat synergistically in general. So let me give you an example of synergistic eating. Something like oil and vinegar with a salad is going to be fantastic. The oil and the vinegar, that combination is going to stimulate your stomach in a way to now that salad is able to be processed by your body a lot easier. So eat intuitively, eat synergistically, start to add kind of like these small little tips and tricks, and what you guys will realize is between the timing and determining how you eat your meals, that's going to change a lot already. We haven't even talked about what to eat. But as far as what to eat, I mean, you guys can do research as well, but eat intuitively. So things like fruits, vegetables, meats, guys, these are going to be great for you. Organic, grass-fed, wild-caught, whenever possible. And eat for your goals. So if your goal is to put on muscle, well, you might want to eat more things like steak, right? If your goal is to get better hydration, well, you probably want to eat a lot of fruit, right? If you want to increase your memory, well, you might want to eat things like eggs and blueberries. So depending on your goal, eat intuitively to your goal, but typically it's going to come back to fruits, vegetables, and meats, and there really isn't a place for a lot of these junk foods. They can be considered a pleasure. Maybe you really like eating them, but realize that they're not really benefiting your body. Lastly, relationships. Relationships can be an excellent way to grab energy. I recommend everybody have different relationships in their life. Now realize that relationship does not have to be with the opposite sex. A relationship does not have to be even with another human. A relationship could be with your animal, right? A lot of you guys have dogs and cats. You can have a great relationship with your dogs and cats. It can be a relationship with nature. You might have a certain spot outside that just really gives you a lot of energy. For me, it's going outside, watching the sunset on the beach. I love doing that. It gives me a ton of energy. Or it can even be an activity that you really love. Let's say you really love playing tennis, you really love playing golf, and you have a great relationship with those activities. They can give you a ton of energy as well. So it can be with people, it can be with people that you really care about, it can be with people that maybe you don't necessarily care about them as much, but you can still create a very loving and joyous relationship. It can be with animals, nature, activities, and they can be good or bad relationships. They don't always have to be the best relationship. You can have a relationship with a person that you don't necessarily like the relationship, but it always gives you an energy. Maybe it gives you a motivation to change. We want to try and create as many good relationships as we can, but realize that bad relationships can serve a purpose as well. And be fully present. This is a concept that I talk about, but in any relationship, you want to give to the relationship and you want the relationship to give to you. You don't want to give to the relationship and then have the relationship take from you. That's not a give-give relationship, and you don't want to have it be a take-take relationship either. The best relationships are going to be give-give. You give something to the relationship, and the relationship also gives something back to you. And it's complementing energies. You might bring in a certain energy that the receiver needs, and the receiver might bring a certain energy that you need. And you guys are able to exchange this energy in a way that is going to be more harmonious for the body. Lastly, energy wants to stay in motion. Realize that you are constantly giving your energy, and your environment, everything around you, is constantly giving you energy. So those are the 5 main ways: light, water, air, food, relationships. They are constantly around you guys, and they are constantly giving you energy. Likewise, you are constantly giving your environment energy. So put yourself and just start to think about all 5 of those things, and those are going to be the 5 ways that you can give your body more energy. Not only is this going to make you the healthiest possible version of yourself, but you're also going to have the mental fortitude and focus to be able to go after your goals. So guys, if this video helped you, please like, subscribe, share it with somebody that you think would benefit from this, and I will see you in the next video.